Why?
And it just worked. It was a second.
Oh, there we go.
You're live.
We're live.
Hey, we're live. Did I get a notification?
Morning, Paul.
Or whoever that
Or some
is.
shepherds. And someone else that
Thompson. Isaiah? Is that Isaiah?
I can't. Sure. Hey, we both have bad eyes. Look at that.
Yeah, I have glasses. It's not no excuse. I've got glasses on.
I have my contacts in, but
These glasses are like 3 or 4 years old.
See, that's
my
the problem.
excuse.
Yeah. I might be wearing contacts, but I don't know when I last went to the eye doctor. So not that up to date.
Yeah.
It is Isaiah. And Nicole. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning. Good morning.
And Alyssa. Good to see everyone.
Alyssa Shuline.
Yep.
Shout out to Alyssa. She came by my house and put some popsicles in my freezer. I appreciate that. You know,
Like broke in your house?
yeah, just broken.
Wow.
And some popsicles in my freezer.
Man, quarantine is making people do crazy stuff.
It's wild, man. It's wild.
What is going on?
No, her and her mom came by and dropped off dinner for us last night. It was some amazing pork chops. I can't remember what she called them. She had like a special name for them. They were delicious, and the rice was really good, and the salad was really good. And haven't tried the popsicles yet, so we'll see. I told her that I would probably eat most of them. They were like, "These are for your kids." I was like, "Yeah."
It's one of the best things about being a parent. The things that are for your kids.
Yeah, right.
And you can go to the store and buy like a cart full of sugar cereal. No one judges you.
Not at all. No judgment
Oh, for your kids.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They're here somewhere.
Yeah, they're rad.
Yeah.
Hello, Hope.
For the longest time, my wife didn't allow my kids to have like a lot of like sweets, you know,
Yeah.
so they couldn't have like sugar cereal or not couldn't. They just didn't. Yeah, I would say probably couldn't.
Mostly couldn't.
And like they couldn't have. I mean, they still don't drink almost anything other than water, like almost ever. You know, strawberry milk is like a favorite of Winston's, and he actually
I still have never tried that.
He just drinks regular milk.
Kind of
which
freaks
is
me out a
nice.
little bit.
Yeah.
Chocolate milk, sure. Strawberry, I don't know.
So it was strawberry. Like she would like put the syrup in it and everything.
Oh, there's strawberry syrup. I didn't even see.
Yeah, and add
It's
it to
been
the
a long
strawberry milk. I mean, to add it to the milk to get strawberry milk. Strawberry milk is delicious. I can't believe you've never tried it.
I mean, it just sounds like one of those things, like Sour Patch yogurt. It's just like, I don't know why. Why does that exist?
Why is that a thing?
Yeah, chocolate milk, to some reason, makes sense. But I mean, strawberry milkshakes, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know why strawberry more than. I mean, I guess like if you think about ice cream, you think about vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, right? So
You are making a compelling argument.
somebody was like, "Oh, we already have like regular milk. Why don't we just make chocolate and strawberry?" Because then I think about like, well, why not orange? You know, because there's like orange.
No, that sounds worse for some
Orange
reason.
sickle. No, well, for sure. I'm not saying that. Like it's okay. But who decided like
Strawberry?
that strawberry milk was going to be a thing?
Some really good strawberry salesman.
Like who did like it wasn't it wasn't orange, it wasn't blueberry, it wasn't banana.
The
Even though
blueberries
banana
sound-
milk
banana?
sounds
Sounds
delicious, right? You know?
I feel like I've seen that
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. I feel like if you go to like Superior Dairy or something like that, have you been there?
I've heard of this place. This
Yeah.
is the one that's like somewhere
And,
south.
like, yeah, Tulare. Yeah, they've got some delicious ice cream. I'm sure that they probably have like different flavors of milk. I'm sure that's somewhere where you can go and probably get like some varieties. I don't know if anyone's been to Superior
Who's actually
Dairy.
tried strawberry milk? Am I the only one that hasn't? Because I feel like they can't be that common of a thing.
Yeah.
Again, chocolate, sure, plain with cookies.
I feel like they even had strawberry milk in elementary school. I think that like maybe at my school, I feel
Right
like
at my
I feel like we had strawberry milk in school.
I remember even at my school, like we didn't have chocolate milk. It was just you got regular plain milk, and that was it.
Okay.
Nicole has had it. Hope has not. See, so
What?
it's like hit and miss.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I'm not the only one,
Wow. I would have never guessed.
and I don't really have like a strong desire to try it. I mean, I don't have a strong desire to try.
Well, that's
yogurt.
that's
The things you walk by and you're like, I don't know. Nicole says it wasn't the best. See?
The strawberry milk? What?
And Alyssa has had it, but she doesn't like milk in general.
Oh,
So she also
okay.
agrees it wasn't that great.
Well,
Yeah, I don't really drink milk plain at this point.
Yeah, no. I think that strawberry anything is fantastic. I don't know if there's anything that's not strawberry
I gotta think about that.
coordinated.
It's not going to be a good thing.
Yeah, that wouldn't be delicious.
And then Isaiah comes in with, I love strawberry milk. So
there you go.
Even Isaiah could just have a gallon of strawberry milk.
Yeah. Me, Isaiah, and Winston.
Just pass it around. You never know what we're going to be talking about. Strawberry milk. Why not? It's the age of quarantine.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
It is what it is. How are you guys doing? Everyone's doing good. Again, hopefully you got something
that you can sip on
to enjoy. And here we are. Week 8.
Man.
Week 8. That's like twice as many as 4. So all those times I told you I wasn't good at math, apparently I am. Joke's on you guys.
And this is week 8 of this episode, but I was just thinking, like, the first episode, or it wasn't an episode, but the first thing that we did was that Wednesday before, when you and I did a little like thing together.
That's
like,
crazy.
Update about what was going on. We're like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then we're like, oh, we should do that.
This is actually week 9.
Yeah. So yeah, it actually is week 9 that we haven't been together. Yeah.
Wow. With you guys. That's crazy. That's a long
9 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I keep saying at some point it will end and we'll go outside again. But morning sip will continue.
Yeah.
There'll still be mornings and there'll still be things to sip.
I love this. This, like, I don't know. It kind of feels like a little break from everything that's going on, and just kind of enjoyable and hanging out with Pastor Michael and Megan and the kids. And so I don't know. I look forward to this continuing even after we get a chance to physically meet together, which I'm super excited about. But yeah, we're gonna keep this thing going because we have a lot of fun doing this show, and hopefully you guys have fun watching it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said in Instagram, what else you got better to do?
Right. Ethan said read his Bible. Now, I think that you definitely should be reading that.
While you're sitting with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Just turn this on.
Open the Bible.
Crack that thing open.
Have a little YouTube Bible study together.
Yeah,
works too. Yeah, like even like during the start when we have like the what's new, I used to have things I would write down. And this time I wrote what's new. Sunday was Mother's Day. That's all I got this week. That was it.
The bullet list of things.
It got shorter and shorter. There was that. That's about because then Monday and Saturday and Wednesday and whatever day.
What did you do for Mother's Day?
We were in our house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know about you guys. So this is obviously our first Mother's Day here in Fresno. Before we lived right by Megan's parents, right by my parents. So we'd often either have them over to our house or go over to one of their houses and we'd all get together and do that thing. But even under quarantine, we wouldn't have done that. So it was kind of like, it didn't really matter if we were here or there.
Right.
So we did the FaceTime thing. It's on that way. And for Megan, we had heirloom for dinner. That was her request.
Oh,
Kids had chicken nuggets because we don't want to waste good food on them.
Right.
So, and they were, even Makai was eating the chicken nuggets. He's like, so good. Because Megan and I kept saying, like, oh, this is so good. Heirloom's so good. He's like, yeah, so good. He enjoyed
Where's the chicken nuggets?
The chicken nuggets.
Where'd they come from?
Just the freezer, those kind of chicken nuggets. He was greatly enjoying those.
Oh, man.
And then the kids made some cards and stuff. We did breakfast in bed for Megan.
Nice.
So that's one nice thing, too, about, like, a different thing about quarantine. Normally Sundays, pastor, it's like I'm the first one getting up in the house. I'm leaving before everyone's even awake to get to church. And then usually, then we see each other as the day goes on. Yeah. But this one was like, okay, well, church didn't start till 8:30. It was up at 7. Kids, we were able to do something and give Megan breakfast in bed, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, seriously. I got a chance to do something similar. And I'd be interested to hear what you guys did for your parents. I saw some cool pictures on Instagram.
And hopefully none of you right now are like, wait, it was Mother's Day?
Yeah.
That would not be good.
Yeah, epic.
Not too late, but not great.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I got a chance to wake up a little early on Sunday morning. My wife was still asleep. We actually shot a couple of videos for my wife, just like had some questions that I was asking them about, like their moms, and they're sitting in my office chair. It was really, I had so much fun putting the videos together.
Cool.
Somebody had made a comment on one of them, was like, oh, this is the cutest thing ever. I had no idea that it was going to turn out like as good as it did. I was just like, oh, this is kind of a cool idea. Let me see if I can ask my kids some questions about their mom and see like what they say and how funny their answers would be. And then when I put the videos together, I was like, this is really like a cool video. I was so glad that I did it. So we got a chance to get up a little before she got up and do all those things, which it would not typically happen on Mother's Day because it's always on Sunday. And
exactly.
I'm always out of the house before everybody gets up. So
it is kind of cool too, like those little kid video things. Anytime I've done that, like interview kids, they get questions, and you always wonder, like, are they going to give good, funny answers, or you don't even have to prompt it. Like, they just do it on their own. It's amazing. Like, they always just come up with stuff on their own.
Yeah, not at all. Like my son said, there's a couple of really funny ones. I asked Winston what his mom's favorite drink was, and he said, water. he was so proud of that. I mean, like, it's definitely the one that she drinks the most. So, he sees his mom drinking water all the time. She's like a fanatic. She has one of those like giant, like, water bottles that she carries around, like bigger than the hydro flask. It's just huge. And she literally got one that it was like a mistake. She got it. And it was like 2 feet tall. It was like so big.
Put like a backpack strap on it.
It was like a jug. It's like, is that for a family? Or, William said my wife's favorite thing to do was to clean up.
There you go.
That was her favorite.
So, like, again, probably sees her doing it.
Yeah, I mean, he sees her doing it a lot.
The idea of favorite.
Don't know. We might be. I was like, what's their favorite thing? He's like, a hamburger. I was like, I don't know about that one.
Is that his favorite thing?
I mean, he's a chicken and French fries guy.
There you go.
McDonald's, that's his kind of his go-to. Even on the way here, he was like, I can smell the chicken and French fries. I was like, you can't. That's it's
just in his head.
Yeah, it's just in his head. And then I was like, if your mom watches this, what's something that you want to say to her? He's like, hello.
It's nice. I mean, that's a good place to start. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, kids they have
good answers.
They're so awesome. Yeah. You don't have to prompt them.
It's true. They just come up with it on their own.
Yeah.
Like we were doing later on in the day for like dessert. Melina had the idea, like, we should make brownies. That's a great idea. So there's 2 kinds in there. So in our house, I like milk chocolate. Megan likes dark. And then the kids kind of fall either way. But Megan just likes dark. Like, even like her coffee, she likes stronger than I do. She likes it strong, bitter. I'm like adding sugar to mine. So she's much braver on those things than I am, apparently. But so we have in there was dark chocolate brownies and milk chocolate brownies. So Melina's like, okay, let's do these. I'm like, well, which one? She's like, milk chocolate. Because she likes milk chocolate. And then she had this moment, she stopped, she's like, wait, that's what I would want. Nice. She finally got to the point. 7 years old, it got there.
Yeah.
Not every day, but that one time.
Yeah.
That one time.
That one time.
She switched to the dark chocolate.
She really thought about what mom would want. That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, that's tough for a kid to kind of make that switch, that transition from, like, I mean, even still to this day, I mean, even as an adult, when I first got married, I used to get the worst gifts for my wife. And I don't know if she's going to watch this. So.
But probably things that you would want, right?
Yeah, no, there are things that I thought that, like, oh, this would be cool. I think that she would like this. And she's like, because she loved me, she was like, yeah, this was wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate it. It was not. They were not one. Like one year I got her like, because I would get her things that like we could do together. So I was just like, okay, what do let me think. Let me try to be creative. And one year I got her like a skateboard, and I was like, yeah, we can skate together. But my wife doesn't skate, So I was like, oh, I'm a teacher. No, she's like almost never used that skateboard in the 10 years that we've gotten married. She still has it though, which is something. She can throw it away.
There's always a chance.
Yeah.
Or someday you're one of your boys, maybe.
Yeah.
Possibilities.
I did get her some rollerblades one year, and she actually, that was again something that was more of like what I would have wanted, but she did use those more than the skateboard. So
there you go. Yeah,
it is kind of hit and miss with the.
It is kind of one of those things, and I wrote this down when we get to the sermon recap part because it was about marriage. But that thing of like, it's so often thinking of like what you would like is usually how you behave.
Right.
Towards the other person. Same thing like with gifts. Like Megan would do gifts that she would want, but not literally. She wouldn't like buy me clothes for her, but things that she would want.
Yeah.
And then I would do the same thing, and it takes a while to
figure
think the other way around. Like, oh wait, what do you actually want?
Yeah.
And then it's one of those things that changes over time too. So
yeah,
maybe Alexis will want a skateboard in a few years. Who knows?
Hopefully.
Megan's always wanted like a scooter, like a little scooter you get on and drive. But she's a very distracted. She's a good driver. No accidents or anything, but just in general, distracted. And so I told her, no, you can't have a scooter because, if anything ever happens, hopefully nothing ever does. In a car, you're a little bit more safe.
Right.
On a scooter, you like look away for a second and you're just going to fly into a tree or traffic or.
Yeah.
So no scooter for Megan.
No, that sounds like.
She still really wants one, but.
That sounds like
it's just a bad idea.
Accident waiting to happen. The same.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I'd be.
I kind of want a scooter though. So. It doesn't look fun.
Oh man.
See, just like Will was talking about last week, once again, that we have like in the background, you guys can't see, but see like Melina walk by outside. She's like smiling at us. Not sure what she's doing, but something. She's up to something.
Yes, again, still thinking about like that when I was preaching, just like kind of
people like all over.
Like people like moving over here.
Stay focused on the camera. Stay focused on the camera.
Stop. What should happen right now?
Just make eye contact with the camera.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, hopefully you guys have had a good week since last week when we did this thing, and hopefully the next week will also be a good week. Anyone else kind of think like? Anyone else surprised by the fact that this is 9 weeks now? That's surprising to me. It feels long, but it also feels short.
I
it doesn't feel like it's that many weeks.
I was surprised when I thought about the 9. I think that was kind of like, oh,
yeah,
it's been 9 weeks. Can't believe it.
Gannon says, "How late am I?" Hey, Gannon, you're here. That's what matters. That's what matters. We're just talking about. I don't know what we're talking about. We're just talking about things.
Yeah. What's new?
Strawberry milk.
Yeah.
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
Yeah. Hopefully you remember this Mother's Day, and that's about it. That's the week recap right there.
Yeah, no doubt. We one thing that was new for me. We played scavenger hunt for the first time on a Zoom call with my students on Friday night, and it was intense. It was intense.
What were the items they were trying to?
Okay, so we played on teams.
Okay.
So once one person like was given the item, those 2 people like raced in their house to go get like the item, and then whoever brought it back first, and there were like levels to like the points that they got. I think no matter what, if you brought it back first, you got 2 points. If you brought it back, you got 1. Like if you had it in your house,
okay,
you got 1. But then Liz kicked it up a notch. She's one of our leaders, and she like made you do something specific with the items to earn more points.
Oh, there you go.
Right? So like for example, we had to go get shampoo. The first person who brought it back then had the opportunity to earn like several more points if they like squeezed like a dollop of it in their hair and just kept it in their hair the whole
I like
the rest
it.
of the game.
These are good ideas.
So we had shampoo. Somebody grabbed like an egg, crack an egg on their head.
And they did it?
And they did it, yeah. And it's actually Rob, one of my volunteers. He was on my team. Shout out to Rob. Appreciate you.
See, if it was hard boiled, it'd be like, sure, I'll crack it.
Yeah, exactly. Hot sauce. That was another thing. So I had to grab hot sauce, and I do not like spicy.
Did you have to eat it?
I had to drink like the. So it was like a packet or like drink like the whatever you grabbed, and I grabbed like a packet of like, and we had like Popeyes or something like that. So
that's hot sauce.
I had a packet of like. Literally on the packet it says 1 drop is enough or something like that. I had to drink the whole packet of hot sauce. That was not fun.
See, I like hot sauce, but I don't want it by itself.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that needs to be with something.
Yeah, right. Someone else had to do mayonnaise and like eat like a spoonful of mayonnaise.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was that's not for me. And then I'm trying to remember. Oh, toilet paper. Somebody grabbed toilet paper when they had to make like a hat out of toilet paper. That was kind of like the easiest one. That one and the shampoo one's not so bad. I get the shampoo that you have to wash off out of your hair after you're done.
That's true.
The toilet paper hat, you just take it off. You know?
So I was at a camp last summer, and they did this thing called Sauce Head, and basically it was just like a big thing of like that cheap like $5 hair gel like in a giant bottle, and they would just like pour that all over someone's head, and then like they slick it back or whatever. Yeah. And there was a group of, I can't remember if it was junior high or high school. Anyways, one of the kids was like, would it be weird if I like just went and like took a shower to get this out of my hair? Like, why would that be weird? Like, that's the most normal thing you could do. Like, what? That was the question. Would this be weird if I wanted to wash this out? No, that probably a good idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the last one, this is the best one. The last one was, and this was everybody had the opportunity to do it and earn like points for their team. You either had to go jump in the pool, jump in the shower, or like get hosed down with the water hose with your clothes on.
Nice.
With everything that you're wearing.
That should be like a lot of points. That's like
it was like
level.
The first person who did it like got like 10 points.
There you go.
And then everybody else got like something if they did it afterwards. But yeah, I didn't do it. I was just like,
no.
I love you guys, but we're not playing for money or anything like that. So, but my brother-in-law who was playing with me, he like literally with me, he was right next to me. He and I were playing together, and we were on the same team. I soaked him down with the water hose, so he took one for the team.
Did he know he was taking one for the team, or did you start doing it?
No, he was taking one.
Like no.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of interesting. There were some other ones like grab the youngest person in your house or something like that, and I don't know. There's a bunch of other ones. So we like played some like ones we had to grab like some verses out of the Bible. I don't know. So it was a lot of fun.
That does sound pretty fun.
Scavenger hunt was cool. So that was also new for me on Friday because I'd never played Zoom scavenger hunt yet.
We're having to rethink because like I remember growing up in youth group doing scavenger hunts, but now it's a little bit different that we can't go outside and do things. Right. So Zoom scavenger hunt. There you go.
Yeah.
It's all changing. Everything's a little bit different. We'll find like Zoom, I don't know, pizza parties or Zoom Zoom everything now.
Yeah.
Invest in Zoom is what we should have done a little bit ago. But here we are.
Some stuff.
Well, today we're going to do another session of mug and socks.
Yeah.
We have socks, we have mugs, and so we can talk about them. Now, today, Pastor Will's socks are looking pretty snazzy. Sushi is what we got going on there.
Sushi rolls.
Sushi rolls.
Yeah,
and I like the color, too. It's a good color.
Yeah, I these socks are probably at least 4 years old, maybe 5 years old.
They've held up well.
Yeah, they have. They're starting to get a little browner on the bottom of them. But yeah, no, they're pretty good. I got these socks for Christmas one year, 5 years ago, and they almost immediately became like one of my favorite pairs of socks. Number one, because I love sushi, but two, because I just really like the colors of these socks, and I think
Hope and Nicole agree. They both love sushi as well.
Go pretty well. Yeah, I can eat sushi almost every day. I don't know if I could say every day, but
there's so much variety in sushi.
Yeah.
So you really probably could.
I mean, when I started, it was like only stuff that was cooked, and then I think it kind of started in the Marine Corps with only stuff that was cooked, and then I would get like more adventurous when it came to like different types of rolls. And
wait, did they actually serve you sushi in the Marine Corps?
No,
like that would be amazing.
Definitely not.
Go training, come back in, and sushi rolls.
No, absolutely not. Well, and the cool thing is like, so when I was in like my primary duty station was at Camp Pendleton, which is just outside of Oceanside, California. And so, obviously when you're right near the ocean, seafood is like,
right there.
Abundance. Yeah. So you go everywhere and you find literally anything with some type of seafood. And I've always been a seafood guy, but never really a sushi guy. And so some friends of mine took me to go eat sushi when I was in the Marine Corps.
I'm the opposite.
They introduced me.
Don't like seafood at all, but I'll eat sushi.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I stayed away from it for years because I don't like seafood. But then finally, like, my brother took me to like a Chinese food / sushi buffet. So he's like, if you don't like anything, you can still get, Chinese food buffet. But because it was a buffet for sushi, I would like try one, like, nope, don't like that. Try one, that's not too bad.
Right.
Got to try like 20 different rolls.
Yeah.
And found out there's some I liked, and then from there increased.
Yeah.
But any cooked seafood at all?
No. Wow.
I know.
That's so weird. Yeah, man, that's rough. So
never had sushi, Gannon? Oh my. We got to fix that.
Oh man, that doesn't surprise me, I guess.
True.
I didn't have sushi till I was much older.
Yeah.
And so, but
I think it's more common now, though.
Yeah, I do.
There were not sushi places in my town.
I definitely. I still feel so bad for you though that you don't like seafood.
I feel bad for me too.
I can't get over
because people will like talk about how amazing. It's like, oh, there's this amazing salmon that we caught like in Alaska, and I'm like, no, it doesn't sound good. Or people that love like crab or lobster or anything.
Right. Oh my goodness, man, you're just bumming me out right now. I have to reevaluate our friendship.
It's too late. You're in too deep now.
Pot committed. So anyway, yeah, just my love for sushi grew while I was in the Marine Corps, and it became like more and more things that I would try, and I eventually got to the point where I would even eat like the like nigiri, like the raw sushi, which is
even that
pieces,
I like that.
And I love that. Like I'll order a roll, but I'll get like several pieces of like yellowtail or salmon or something like that on top of like the roll. I mean, on the side of it to come as an appetizer or whatever. And my wife didn't like sushi when we got together. She's like always been like a little okay with seafood, not loves it as much as I do, but she was just like no. And so she would eventually move from. She moved from like the California roll, where
the gateway roll.
Yeah, the gateway.
That's the entry level one right there.
I've never heard it called the gateway roll. That is hilarious. Oh man, I gotta remember that. Okay, so she moved from that to shrimp tempura, and now she's like a little more adventurous. She doesn't go like too far out of her comfort zone, but she tries more stuff. But I absolutely love sushi now. So the other thing about these socks is now they actually have a new like meaning and significance for me because of Biola. And last year when I went to Biola, one of the days that I went, I was wearing these socks, and one of the kids called me Mr. Sushi Socks.
Yes.
And I think it was the first day that I was there for like the 3 weeks or whatever. And so when I came back like the next week, she was like, Mr. Sushi Socks. And that's how she remembered me. So
that was a great nickname.
Now, yeah, for one of the Biola students, my nickname is Mr. Sushi Socks. So, and I would be interested. I don't know that we're going to be able to get back this year.
Find out.
But if we do, I would love to go to see
if
she remembers my socks. So
the funny thing is, did she actually know your name was Will, or did she just call you Mr. Sushi Socks the whole time?
No, she knew my name.
Okay.
Oh wait, no. She didn't know my name was Will.
See, that's the thing. So I remember going to camp, even at Hume, and when you're in wagon train, the literal camp, the cabin leaders and stuff would have nicknames, and so I still remember their nicknames like Dusty and these guys, but I have no idea what their names actually are. So even if they were on Facebook or something, I could never find them because I don't know what their real names are.
Just remember their nicknames.
She could be searching Mr. Sushi Socks. Nothing.
I need to change my name on all social media platforms.
You absolutely need
to Mr. Sushi Socks in order for her to remember.
We got a little disagreements going here about seafood. So Yana likes clam chowder. Never had sushi though.
Nice.
Which clam chowder I can I prefer bacon chowder, which is a thing I've had.
Yeah.
It's real. And then Alyssa hates seafood. So this is the fascinating thing to me about taste again. Because Alyssa does not like it. Other people do like it. So that means we are tasting it differently.
Right.
Just think about that.
Yeah.
Doesn't that blow your mind?
We all have the same tongue.
We talked about this before, and someone, I forget, was telling us about how this works.
Yeah, how
but
it works.
Still blows my mind.
Yeah. And yet we can have strong dislikes
and likes of things.
Yeah.
And then apparently Emily agrees. That's surprising. Do you like sushi now? Because there's avocado in a lot of sushi rolls.
Emily doesn't like sushi?
No. Or at least not seafood. And Ganon likes seafood, but just does not try sushi. Okay. Well, there's still time.
Yeah, I could probably live on seafood. I don't know what you would have done if you would have been with Jesus and he was like, hey, you want to eat? I got some fish and some loaves.
I'm bread again, Jesus. Thank you.
I guess
it's plain bread. Jesus, I can't live by bread alone. Thanks.
Yeah. Can I get some protein shakes or something?
I think I talked about this last time. I also eat coconut. So again, for me, always thinking of the desert island, coconut, seafood, I would just be well, this is how it ends. I'm just gonna.
You'd be lost.
There could be an abundance of it.
You might. Yeah, you better hope for some plantains or some sugar cane.
That could work.
You can get down. Yeah, you'd be lost. I would definitely be lost with the coconut, but I could live on seafood. I literally could. I could have it.
I could live on sushi.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
That's it.
Yeah, literally any fish. I don't know that there's. I don't think that there's any seafood that I don't like. I don't.
I could list. So you could list off all the ones that you like, and I could list off all the ones I don't like, and they'd be the same.
And then do the same.
The same list.
Do the same.
So one time for our anniversary, Meg and I were at a restaurant, and the chef, there was hardly anyone there, so we were talking to him, and he made seared ahi. So still raw, but then just seared the outside, put some stuff on it, and that was good. So it was kind of partially cooked seafood, and I enjoyed it.
Cool.
I still like it raw more probably, but
right.
I have eaten it cooked.
Wait, so with the sushi rolls, you like raw sushi, not really cooked?
Even the deep fried ones, any of them.
Yeah.
I'll do pretty much any of them.
Cool. All right. That's cool.
Emily says that she will do California rolls, but nothing else. See, that's the gateway. That's the gateway.
It's all right. We'll upgrade you to shrimp tempura. Hopefully.
Just little by little.
Yeah. It'll take some time. It took my wife a while as well. Now she's
embraced it.
Yeah.
And goldfish, guys, do not count as seafood because my kids eat that, and they do not eat seafood at all.
Oh.
My niece though, so she's Melina's age. She's a little bit older. She's probably 7 or 8. But for her like third birthday, she wanted sushi. And that's what they got, and she loved it. And I was just like watching. She's a very refined palate for a 3-year-old.
Yeah, we've got a friend. There's a place in town called Edoya. It's kind of I don't know. In Northwest Fresno, it's kind of a big like teppanyaki place. Anyway, one friend of the family, she takes her grandson there, and he was probably about her age when he started like trying like the food at Edoya. So now he eats like raw fish and like, stuff like that. And he's like 5 or something like that. So and he that's what he wants, like that little.
I wanted that. I wanted my kids to be like, oh, I want them to have like a good sense of food and stuff. Until I started thinking about how much it costs.
Right.
And now I'm like, stick with peanut butter and jelly, chicken nuggets. All about that. Yeah. As long as we can delay them actually wanting the good food, that's good. That works out good for me. Because then at that point, you don't pay a lot more.
Yeah. You don't want to spend a bunch of money for
exactly.
lobster
Yeah.
For a 5-year-old, So.
Or like anything else really. I mean, chicken nuggets you get a bag for like $8.
Yeah.
One kid's meal at a restaurant's like $8.
Yeah.
So
no doubt. Speaking of that, like we had what do we have? Hino Oishi. It's another teppanyaki place. It's right down the street from campus. It's at this actually place is called.
I like how you forgot the name of
our church. I was going to say Maple, and then I was like, yeah. The place is called Campus Point, and it's got like a bunch of different.
Oh yeah, okay.
Did we go?
No,
I think that we were just talking about it one day. Anyway,
wait, is that where that coffee shop is? Over
yes,
there? Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, we did go. So they have a Japanese restaurant called Hino Oishi, and that's what my wife wanted for dinner for Mother's Day. So we ordered out. Got she loves their bacon fried rice, and then she got shrimp and like something else. And we got and then we got the kids. You're talking about like you got heirloom, you got the kid, you made the kids nuggets.
Yeah.
Well, we got something for us, and we got the kids like this like chicken like fried rice like meal, and they are just like,
right.
It's just like should just made them chicken nuggets,
right?
Hot dogs,
One time so it was like me and my 4 siblings and then my 2 cousins. We hung out a lot as kids, and usually like my mom and my aunt would take us places. I remember this one time we got in the car and we were being kids, not listening, not buckling, doing all this stuff. And the parents were like, okay, if you guys don't stop, we're just going to go back home for lunch. You're just going to have peanut butter and jelly. And we're like, no. And then finally we get to the restaurant and everything. First thing my cousin orders, she's like, I'll have peanut butter and jelly. Like, at a restaurant, wants the $5 peanut butter and jelly. Don't go home for it. And that sums up taking kids to a restaurant right there. That's it right there.
Just doesn't want to be at home.
No, never that.
She could have brought her peanut butter and jelly to the
like,
restaurant.
Put it on the plate, yeah.
Okay.
Which we've done that before, and restaurants frown upon you doing that.
Yeah, no.
We've tried that.
You're not.
They don't like that.
You're not supposed to bring your own peanut butter and jelly.
Definitely not.
Have to eat hours. Was it like special at least? Did they like fry it or something?
No, just white bread, peanut butter and jelly. Probably would have been a better quality one at home, but no, he was fine with that one.
Yeah, see that it's the restaurant.
Exactly. I got stories there, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, now for the mug portion. I'm actually going to do something different. I'm looking here. I was going to talk about this one, but the one that Will's using is also one of my mugs. I don't have that many mugs. Mostly they're Megan's. This is part of the story of our mugs.
Can you guys guess before he finishes what this like mug is like, supposed to represent here?
Does anybody know?
I thought it was one thing, and it turns out that it's something else. So,
what is the mug that Pastor Will is using? That beautiful shot right there. While you guys are trying to figure that out, the reason like you open up our mug cupboard and they're all different mugs is because Megan collects mugs. That's like her thing. So she's traveled a lot of places, and everywhere she goes, she gets a mug. Cool. And so most of the mugs are ones that Megan has gotten, or that I've gotten for her, someone else has gotten for her. It's kind of like that's her thing. So I have a few, and this so happens that these 2 are 2 of my mugs.
These are yours.
These are mine.
Cool.
Oh, there we go. Hope got it. Switzerland. Correct.
Good job, Hope.
So now, clear your thoughts. Pick. Do you want me to tell a little story behind this mug or the story behind this mug? Which you can't really tell, but this is a Lake Tahoe mug, one of the Starbucks Lake Tahoe mugs. And let me know, because every mug's got a story behind it. Again, this is a Swiss one.
Yeah, it's Copino.
And yeah, there you go. Okay, fine. I will tell that story, which I have to think about real quick because I wasn't planning on talking about that one. So this was, I think, the first trip that I took to visit Megan. Yes, it was winter. Yes. Okay. So remember the whole story. Megan's in Germany. I'm over here. she comes to visit for Christmas, she comes to visit for summer, then she can't come to visit, so I go to visit her. So Christmas, I don't know what year it was, probably 2005 or 6, 5 probably, maybe, one of the Christmases. I go over there and visit. Now they're in Germany, down in like the southwest corner, which is about half an hour from Switzerland, about half an hour from France. It's a great spot. So even though I was only there for like 10 days, we got to travel all over the place. And one of the places we went to was in Switzerland, a little town called Adelboden, which you should look this up. I don't know how to spell it. Probably Adelbodden.
Somebody look it up and put it in the comments.
There you go. Adelboden, Switzerland. And it literally is like when you watch TV, like a movie, and it's like this little picturesque town that they go to.
Oh, yeah.
Or like in the 80s, like all those ski movies, you know, like they go stay at a place and they be on the ski patrol or whatever.
Yeah.
It was that little town. I mean, it was that kind of a place. And it just so happened that we went there, and while we were there, it was like the skiing World Cup was happening. So you could probably look up like 2005 skiing World Cup, and it would be in Adelboden, and that's where we were. So we go to this little picturesque town. We stayed there for like 2 or 3 days. A bunch of people from Megan's school were there, Megan's parents, a bunch of other adults and kids. And you just kind of like go out of this little place where you're staying in a little hostel, and you just walk through the town, and everyone's just out in the streets having hot chocolate and talking and skiing. It's just like this magical place. I'm like, this is like, we are in the movies, which is part of the reason why I always wanted to go to Europe, because you see movies of things happening there.
Yeah.
And you always want to like live what the movies are. And this was like that happening for like this weekend. I was there. I'm like, we are living, like, are there cameras? Because everything about it just felt that way. Like, it just felt staged, like even like the way the sun rose over the streets. And I mean, the Alps are in the background, and there's like skiers going down it, and they're talking whatever Swiss language sounds like. I don't know, kind of like German, I guess. But it's like this just amazing little place that just happened to be there. And there's so many of those places that are just these random little Swiss towns. So while we were there, I'm like, this is awesome. I want to memorize and just like get all this in my head. And then while we were also there, there was this little shop selling mugs. So I got this one actually. I bought it, but I actually bought it for Megan technically because she collects mugs. And then I'm the one that uses it the most now, and now Pastor Will.
Yeah.
So it's a mug that reminds me every time I use it of this little town, Adelboden, and the fact that for a weekend I lived the movies in the town of Adelboden. Now it wasn't like the complete plot. It wasn't like there was some secret thing happening and I discovered it or anything like that. It was just like basically that we were background extras, and that would be the movie. But it was still a pretty magical place. So if you ever go to Switzerland, I highly recommend the town of Adelboden.
Adelboden.
There was snow everywhere. Like, I still remember the sound of us like walking, like crunching in the snow as we're walking out. And again, like in the movies, like they're just sitting outside little cafes and like having dinner, hot chocolate. And the hot chocolate there was amazing. It was like milk and melted chocolate. It was incredible. It was like a Willy Wonka kind of a thing. Like all of it was just this perfect little. And it's probably more perfect in my head now than it maybe really was. But that's not what matters. Because I remember it that way.
Yeah. As long as just don't go
that's
back.
What counts. Yeah, right. Because it'll not live up to my memory.
You might be disappointed
at all.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I remember when like I went to Cape Town. I'm not Cape Town, Haiti for the first time, and had I can't remember what it was. It might have been like coffee or something. I was just like, man, this is like really good. Like what's wrong with like our coffee? You know? Why does it not taste like this? You know, actually when I went to Cape Town too, there were a lot of things like that too, where I was just like, this is way better than it is in the United States. And I was like, is it really that much better? Like,
because I could probably make it exactly the same way in my house. And that's not that good. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's kind of interesting. I to this day, my friend, like one of our friends who went with us to Cape Town, she was like, I promise you, McDonald's seasons their pickles in Cape Town. I'm like, I don't think that's true. She's like, no, they do. Like, I promise you they do. It's just like, but it did. It tasted better for whatever reason.
I will say I'm amazed by the different tastes of McDonald's in different countries.
Yeah.
Because I think they really do cater a little bit more to whatever that area is.
Oh, well, for sure. Like, the menu's a little different, which is, like, kind of interesting to see. Like, you go and you're just like, oh, it's not on like our menu.
Yeah,
in the United States, you know. Like
when we were in Israel, one of the things they had was like a big Texas or something. Like, we don't have that. Like, why do you guys have that?
How do you guys have Texas?
Texas is an art. Yeah. What's going on here? Is there any context that this matters to you? For us, like the big Texas would mean something, but no. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like the menu when I was in France of McDonald's, like when the food came out, it looked like good food, like that you would get like at a restaurant, not at a McDonald's.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was amazed by that too. Like, wait a minute, this is McDonald's food here.
Yeah, that's 100% true. It looks like, because I don't know if any of you guys have watched like videos of how they like film commercials and how they stage the food to make it look different. Like for example, they'll put like cardboard in between the pancakes to make them like look fluffy, or they'll like pour like oil on the pancakes instead of syrup, so it doesn't like absorb into the pancake. It just looks better or whatever. But yeah, no, the food like looked like it was supposed to, like the same way that it looked in like the picture on the menu, like that's how it looked on like my plate, which is not.
Wait a second,
very often,
I'm not used to this.
At McDonald's, like I'm used to it just like being put out there, and I'm not really looking at it anyway. I'm just
trying to eat it and get it over with.
Kind of fun. I don't know. That was interesting to see. It was a kind of an interesting experience that I had as well when I traveled abroad.
Which I recommend at some point, if you can. Traveling is definitely a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's not like people often say, like, Megan and I traveled even when we were married. So it's not like I've heard people say, like, well, you never do. It's just how important it is to you at whatever point.
Right.
Like, it was expensive when I was single and working a minimum wage job. Like, it took a lot of saving to do it, but it was worth it because I really wanted to do it. And even like later on, we scrimped and saved to go on different trips, like New Zealand for her brother's wedding and things like that, because it was important. So It's possible as long as you just kind of plan it out and stick to it. And if it's worth it.
Yeah.
And hope agrees traveling's fun. It is. It really is. It's fun. And you get cool mugs.
Yeah.
Just like that. So there you go. Mug and socks.
Mug and socks.
While we're doing some newer segments, let's do a little. We did some Q&A last week. That was fun. Let's do a little bit more. What do you guys got? Want to do a little Q&A? Got some questions for us?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. We don't get a chance to share all of our life stories and experiences, and a lot of them are fun. But any questions that you might have about,
anything,
pretty much anything. Yeah, we're willing to talk and share, and excited to hear from you. So
questions about life, questions about things that we've done or haven't done or wish to do. The Bible is a good place for questions. I don't know, random questions, not random questions. Any of those things really work. I did get someone last week that texted some questions. They thought we were doing like the Q&A like that way. So they texted. So I had a few students that texted some.
Cool.
And hold on. Creamy or crunchy peanut butter? Well, man, I always go creamy.
Yeah.
Always.
So I always go creamy also, but I will say that there was like one point where I was very into eating healthy and like all these things like that, and for whatever reason, I would always get like the natural peanut butter, and like, it was like super thick, like the oil like sits on top of it. You gotta stir it up, and like it usually had like peanuts in it, and I was just like, this isn't bad. Like I could definitely do like chunky peanut butter, but since I stopped doing that, I'd never buy chunky peanut butter.
It's not something I probably would buy. If it's all they had, I don't know if I still would even.
It just feels like it. I guess and then the why part of it too is that like it just doesn't really feel like it goes correctly. Like the textures in my mouth are like just so confused. Like it's just like I'm eating a peanut butter jelly sandwich, but I have this like crunchy thing that I have to like watch out for as I'm eating this like soft sandwich.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Textures are a big deal.
Yeah. It's challenging. I would rather just have like it all crunchy or it all like smooth, and not like have a creamy sandwich that also has like some crunchy texture in it. Because then I have to like, I don't know.
Which is weird, because sometimes I like texture. Like if you put like potato chips like on a burger, adds a little crunch, which I like. But in a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I don't want a crunch.
No, I don't know. I don't know. It's a different type of crunch, I think.
It's the wrong kind of crunch.
It's the wrong kind
I don't
of
like nuts and like brownies and baked goods and stuff.
Right.
I know this is an area of dissension out there for people, but no.
That's the same thing for me too.
Soft brownie, also you bite into a nut, like no, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm out.
You know what I would do a crunchy textured element on a peanut butter and jelly is if it was like fried. I think that would probably be good.
Yeah.
Like if I had a deep fried like peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I had like a little crunch on the outside.
So that's like one of the things that
on
my kids like that I make. It's like peanut butter jelly banana sandwich, fried. Fried the outside, get the crunchy bread. You got the soft banana inside. It works. But for some reason, randomly I made that one time and they love it. It takes a long time to make though. So I'm like, well, we just make peanut butter and jelly. And they're like, no, do the one with the banana, the fried, and the. All right.
I wonder if they have like peanut butter banana. Yeah, like peanut butter like banana like spread. So it's got like
Definitely
some
should.
banana flavor.
Yeah.
So you could just
That would work.
I'll look that up for you.
And even like I've never even tried the like peanut butter and jelly mixed together.
Oh yeah. And see, I wouldn't. Man, I have a hard time with like it being in a jar. Like if it was in a bottle and I could just squeeze it out,
I feel like I've seen that.
I feel like
Maybe.
I would have an easier time mentally with putting that on my sandwich.
I like
than,
my ratio though
trying
for
to-
peanut butter and jelly. I want to get the right ratio. I don't feel like I trust the jar of pre-made stuff
This
to do
is
that.
true. This is true. I'm definitely more of a peanut butter
Yeah,
than
I
jelly.
want a good peanut butter base and,
and
some
then
jelly on
you know,
top.
I want some jelly added to my peanut butter sandwich.
There you go. Yeah. And even there, like again, Megan likes way less jelly than even I do. So that jar of pre-made stuff wouldn't work for any of us.
Yeah.
There's too many variables.
Yeah.
And then the kids get with whatever because they all like different things too. So it's like this. They really want to work. That's the person that made it.
I feel like it was
and
a
decided.
great like idea.
It probably works great for him.
You know,
Like, this is the perfect ratio.
In theory, yeah. He's like, yeah, this is what everybody has on their
Right.
peanut butter jelly sandwiches.
Gannon, do try bananas in your peanut butter and jelly. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. Because I've had like peanut butter and banana sandwiches, and just a little bit of jelly in there. Adds a nice little nuance. And then Nicole has been having that as well. Hope has a question of who has influenced you the most. Well, that's a big one.
Loaded question.
Yeah. The most.
Man, it's so weird because like it probably is different people for different areas in my life.
Mhm.
You know, like as a husband, as a pastor.
And even
Yeah,
different probably times in life too.
Yeah. It's such a tough question.
That's a good one though.
It is.
That's a thought-provoking one.
Mm-hmm.
I think whatever answer we come up with as we're thinking here, even might have to be refined later. But
Yeah, I was gonna say,
head.
no matter what answer that I give, if you asked me again, like I'd probably change it. It might
Right.
be different, just
Yeah.
because, there's so many people, throughout my life, different areas of my life, and different, seasons that they needed to be, whatever they were for me during that season, has helped out a lot. Man,
I think there's like the easy ones to go. I mean, obviously, like parents had a huge influence as I was growing up, and even still today, and different friends and siblings and things like that. And then even people from like afar, like there's authors that I read a lot of because they've had a big influence on me and how I think about things, how I view things. Different teachers I had, professors I had in college. So to say who's the most, that's it. Again, I think like Will said, it's different areas probably. I could say like in this area, this person really influenced me a lot. Am I thinking in this area, this person influenced me a lot? It's tough.
Yeah, I think that just like for is just low hanging fruit. This is a really easy answer that would cover like the complete spectrum. It's easy for me to just say like my mom. Like it's 100% like not even like a doubt in my mind. Like the most of like my entire life and like who I am today and all these things like that. It's just been my mom. Like she's done so many things like for me growing up in terms of instilling me with like biblical principles and like showing me how to like do certain things. And because like she raised me as a single mother, like she did a lot of things to like that she didn't like know how to do. Like obviously she's not a man, so she doesn't know what being a man is like, but she kind of helped raise me to become one and like instill certain things that she knew that I needed to know as a man growing up about how to be a good like husband and like how I should be a good like father and how to take care of responsibility, and even like you should learn how to change your oil. I don't know how to do it, but you should learn how to do it, right?
That's good.
So
Yeah.
like there's a bunch of things that she did that have been like the Bible says train up a child in the way that they should go. When they get older they won't depart from it. Like there's a lot of things that like she just instilled in me like when I was really young that I just didn't really know that she was doing. That obviously has had a huge impact and influence on who like I've ultimately become today. So there's a lot of people, again, if we talk about like pastoral influences or even like from a husband's perspective, like in the military, there's the list is infinite. I don't know if I could stop naming different people who have influenced me. And
that's why I think that term influencer that's out there now, I've mentioned this before, even talking with students and stuff, it just bothers me so much because like this idea of like, because this person on Instagram wears these shoes, that makes them an influencer. Like that just grates on me because I think influence is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And it has like this amazing thing of like people that actually influence us and actually cause us to change our behavior or to live differently or to view things differently. That's a big thing. And it's a important position to have. And so I think this term we toss around of like, oh, they're an influencer, so I'm going to buy that, whatever, that just bothers me. Because it's not what real influence is. No. So I would say, I mean, looking at the same thing like Will said, I mean, my parents.
It's like being influenced by a commercial.
Right.
You know, saying
it's like you might change your spending habits for a day, but
Right,
it doesn't
yeah.
change your life.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a different. And that's the thing. We were just recently talking, mostly, you know, because like we call our parents, FaceTime, and all that kind of stuff. And looking at just even little things, like for birthdays, one thing we do is we go to the store, we take our kids to the store for their birthday, and they get to pick out whatever cereal they want for breakfast.
Right.
And now as a kid growing up, like that was a big deal because that was when we got to have sugar cereals. Like that was the day. Like I get to pick whatever one I want. And being one of 5 kids, you don't always get the thing you want. It's just kind of, you know,
get whatever
what is everyone going to be happy with?
Yeah.
But on your birthday, you got what you wanted. So that's like one little thing that you don't even think about that we do with our kids now. But that goes back to, that's the thing my parents did.
Right.
And so like now me and my siblings do that. So now there's all our little nieces, nephews, my kids, that they're having this. And it's kind of a tradition that gets carried on. Just a little silly thing that you don't even think about. That's how powerful influence is. Yeah. Even the little things can get carried on. So think how much more the big things get carried on.
Right.
So I think I can look again the same way, like probably biggest influence I think would be parents, because I mean, for my entire life, I've known them.
Yeah.
They're the only ones I could say that about, them and my siblings really. And there's other people too over the years, like when I was in college, there's certain professors that really influenced me and continues to. I mean, just the other day, I was working on one of my lessons, and I went back to something I got from a professor, and that was, 8 years ago that I was there, whatever it was. And because I was like, I remember like Professor Rex, you know, he said this thing. I went back to look for it because that many years later, I still remember him talking about that.
You know what's so wild is like, is that thought right there? How many times you can, I'm sure you guys can do the same thing. How many times like you can think back to something like so specific that you can literally remember like hearing them say it. And then there's obviously there's thousands of words that they've probably said to you like in interaction, but there's like this one specific thing that you remember so well that's like kind of impacted or influenced you to think a certain way, or like even change your perspective on things that you believe or understand and things like that. And it's so crazy to think about how many of those like little moments that we have, because we don't remember everything. Even when I'm like writing a sermon or a lesson, like it's just like there's no way that you're going to remember everything that I say. Like when you guys
or that we'll remember everything we say.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're like after we're done with this, we're going to forget. I don't know who's going to remember anything that like Pastor Will said during this time, but there may be one thing that you remember after watching an hour-long video or whatever. And it's so interesting though to think about that like concept of how. You could say a whole bunch of things that are like super meaningful, or somebody could say a whole bunch of things that are super meaningful to you, but there's one thing specifically that you remember about like, something that someone else said. And again, that's the power of like the ability to influence or impact someone. Because I can think of a bunch of different people that have like influenced me, like in like, huge ways, like in my life. And I can remember something specific about like something that they said. Yeah. There's one guy that I literally met one time. He's kind of a famous guy, and I spent like a week with him. And it was the very last thing that he said to me, and I still remember it to this day. He's a I guess famous like volleyball coach. His name's Mark Dunphy, and like I spent a week at his like camp in Pepperdine, like kind of like overseeing and watching how like he ran the camp, and like he was interacting with his coaches and the players and all these things. Like I don't know if I'm overstating when I say like there was at least like 1,000 kids like at this camp, Wow. And the last thing that he said to me, literally the last thing, he's like, "Hey, Coach Daly," and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Hey, take care of that family. There's some things in life that are more important than volleyball." I was like, "Boom!" Like they're like this week of spending time with this guy. That's the last thing he said.
And the thing is, he probably just like said it in passing. Probably didn't even like think about it or remember.
He probably doesn't remember saying it.
That's how powerful and influential it can be. That's amazing. Yeah. And I think the same thing for you guys, and to think too, you have influence in people's lives. It's not just people with the pastor name in front of their name or anything. Like we all have influence, and there's things that will stick with people, and it can be good or bad too. I mean, there can be negative influence. Negative words can stick with people also.
Absolutely.
So it's a huge reminder. It can just be these little things in passing, and that's a lot of things I really remember, honestly. Like even talking about like professors and stuff. Like they had great lessons, huge insight on things. It was those little phrases, little statements that were kind of just off the cuff that stuck with me more. Mm-hmm. Little things like that. So I think even with your own influence, be mindful of that. It goes more than just shoes and makeup and
TikTok.
Let's see here. Who has influenced your journey to Christ? a good one too. Again, I mean, parents are an easy one.
Yeah.
I think they were the most influential. And I think the thing about parents too is you don't ever realize this, and I was told a million times, you'll be told a million times, until you're like out as an adult, until you're out even as a parent, then you look back like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, that makes more sense.
Now I understand.
Yeah, because for me, again, I mean, I was never by any means a perfect child, and my parents were there for like the successes and the failures and everything in between, and navigating without overprotecting, but also allowing some freedom, but also trying to guard. I mean, all these things they had to navigate. Looking back, like, man, how'd they do that? All the time. Whatever they did, I got to figure out more because, man, that's tough.
Right.
And then I think, too, influence with Christ is an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
So I think people continue to influence. My parents continue to influence, but also other pastors continue to influence that I sit under. Again, people that I read or listen to, or there's lots of people that continue to influence.
Yeah. So yeah, the easy answer would be my mom. There's a friend of mine though. His name is Bastien Kabuya Matadi. His name is French.
Awesome.
He's from Congo. He's lived in Cape Town for a long time. His name is patient in English, which is what Bastien is in French. And he always tells people that his name is like patient, like the hospital, because he sounds like he's saying patience, and a lot of people call him patience, which is kind of a
patient like the hospital,
somewhat common name in with some people. I don't know. I guess I do know more people named Patience than Patient, I guess. So anyway, he does his thing as Patient like the hospital. He was like very influential in like my like spiritual growth and development for sure. This guy like literally spent countless hours like with me, like studying the Bible and like praying and just like literally talking about how directly correlated like the things that are going on in my life were with like the Bible. And I think that just in terms of like spiritual growth and development, it's that's why I'm when like again looking back, because hindsight is 2020. I look at that. You and I were talking about small groups last week, the importance of small groups. And I look at that like small group that I had as I was kind of becoming spiritually mature and understanding how like instrumental that was to my growth and development. I mean, it literally is. It's hard to like quantify or even put into a category of like how much impact and influence that had on like who I am today. But that that group of like and it was Patient, and then it was like three other guys who were kind of all around my age. We all kind of had some of the same things in common, but it was like 4 or 5 of us maybe, at least that were like really, really close. There was more people than that in like the overall group. But anyway, he was a guy who had a huge impact.
And that's, I think, the value of surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded like that. Like they've done studies in psychology and stuff that show that essentially, to simplify it, you're kind of the average of like the 5 closest people to you in any area. So in terms of like spirituality, the 5 people closest to you you're going to kind of average into the middle of that, and with whatever it might be, whatever area of life. But looking at like, okay, well, who am I surrounding myself with? Who are the people I'm closest to? And do I want that to be part of my average? Yeah. I mean, so it's like we're meant to also reach out to others. We're also meant to help others. But when we talk about those closest people that are closest to you in that small core group of your friendship or circles, well, who are those people? And do you want that to be part of your average?
Yeah. That's a really good question. That's a great way to phrase it. Yeah.
And again, so there's people that I am in contact with and stuff, and of course want to be close to and friends with. But then there's also those who I'm like, who do I want to influence me? Who do I want to influence in a positive way? And there's so different levels of relationship and connection and stuff that we have to look at also.
Yeah. I mean, I guarantee you could think about right now who are like the 5 people who you spend like the most time with, and you could see that you're like an average of those, 5.
Even in terms of like speech, or like in terms of behavior, in terms of patience, temper. I mean, all those kind of things.
Your likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
Like, the things that you literally like, the things that you like watch. The things that you're interested in are all influenced by the people you spend.
And you also influence them too.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's this reciprocal relationship of like you giving and then you also taking. But again, sometimes it's important to ask that question because sometimes you might not want to be that might not be the way that you want to be being influenced, or you may be wanting to influence people differently. I don't know. I just think that idea of thinking of that average is kind of, I don't know. It's an important thing to kind of reflect on a little bit.
And it's that idea. This is one of those things that professor I was mentioning. His name was Rex Gurney. One of the things he mentioned just in passing was just to be aware. So again, it's like, well, be thinking of those things, because things will naturally just kind of happen. So it's like the people we surround ourselves with, we might not even think about it, but constantly be aware of like, okay, who am I surrounding myself with, and what influence is that having? I had a student one time who was friends who grew up with some other guys that were making bad choices at the point in life, and we got to a point like, I don't know, like, should I still be close to them? Should I not? And how do I reach out to them? How do I do all these things? I said, well, the point when you are influencing them less than they're influencing you, then you have to kind of set up a little bit of distance there. You have to reevaluate that. If you're influencing them in a positive way, that's good. But if they're influencing you in a negative way, then you have to be careful with that. You have to use wisdom. So it's all these kind of things to navigate, but it's a constant just awareness. Be aware, be thinking about that. Don't let it just happen to you.
Right. Make
decisions and be aware of what's going on. Emily asks, what's one lesson you've learned that you wish you would have known in high school? It's another good one. One lesson you learned that you wish you would have known in high school. So for me, the thing I can think of right away, this goes also into someone who's influenced me. I mentioned a lot of times when I'm teaching, I'm just in passing, there's a pastor down in San Diego area. His name's Larry Osborne. He teaches at a church called North Coast. I've mentioned that too. And he's written a lot of books as well. One thing that, and I don't know the guy. I talked to him once on the phone. It's a big deal for me. But I mean, he's influenced me through his teaching, through his writing and stuff. And one thing he's talked a lot about is the way we connect to Jesus, find the thing that works for us there. And now, I'm not saying just, everyone find your own path. He's not saying that. But in terms of like, when do you pray? When do you read your Bible? When do you do these things? What works for you? And so basically he has this idea of kind of spirituality that works for each of us, rather than just saying like, it has to be this certain way, look this certain way, this cookie cutter kind of a thing. Like, again, like saying first thing in the morning, you need to crack open your Bible. Well, for me, first thing I need a shower and some coffee. Then I can crack open my Bible. It'll be a lot more effective. So things like that, little things like that's what he's talking about. And he even has a book called Spirituality for the Rest of Us. And just kind of talking about that different way of viewing things and different way of doing things. And you can still walk the path of Jesus Christ in the way that he's designed you to do. So for me, when I was growing up in my faith journey, and then even still today, that would have been a helpful thing, I think, for me to know that the ways that I'm different is okay. And I can still follow Jesus in the ways that, because again, he's the one who uniquely designed me to be the way that I am. And not saying that like, I have a temper, so that's okay because that's how he designed me. Not saying that. The positive things, the things that he has put into me, and everything else in there too that I need to contain and control and put into the right paths and avenues. The way that I am made is the way that God made me. And he meant for me to connect to him in the way that he made me, through the conduit that he made me. The example I always use is like in a house, there's 110 and there's 220 electrical. Like you can't plug something that's 110 into 220 and be very good, or 110 into 220 and get the right output, the right connection.
Right.
So we need to connect to God, to our source of power and energy, but find the way to connect to him that is useful and works well for us. And it changes in the stages of life too.
Yeah.
I mean, just the other day, I finally got to a place where I was doing my devotions, and right away, like there's a knock on the door, like one of the kids. All right, I'll do that later. So, it came back, and later on that night when everyone was in bed, I finally got around, okay, well now I'm ending my day with my devotions. And instead of feeling guilty about that, like that's part of my life right now.
Right.
And so I think for me growing up, it would have been really helpful just to know that, again, God designed me the way he made me. I'm different. We're all unique. We're all different. And that's okay to connect to God the way that we connect to God.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough question for me to answer. I think that, I don't know, I'm trying to even think of how to phrase it. I think that in high school, one of the things that I thought was like, one of the things that I just think is, most high schoolers think is that, we get so focused on like our relationships with like other people, and I got caught up in high school in like, wanting to like please people. I think it may have something to do with like, I don't know. I don't want to go into like a therapy session about my past or anything like that. But I think that like this desire to like, feel wanted and be wanted, I think that everybody kind of has something like that. And so like this need for, trying to have like deep, meaningful relationships with so many different people was like with like a lot of people. I think that was like my downfall. And so I invested so much into like relationships with other people that it took me so long to really figure out like who I was as an individual. And so some of the pressures and the societal norms and the almost like partly having like a desire for conformity. We don't necessarily typically want to stand out, even though we're called to. And so I wrestled with a lot of those things for a long time. So I invested a lot of time and energy into relationships that I didn't really necessarily need to. When some of that time could have been spent focusing on like myself, some of that time could have been spent focusing on understanding like who I was, the things that I needed, the things that I wanted to do. And so as a result, it also meant that it took longer for me to find out like who I really was, like at my core, who I really wanted to be as like an individual, and instead of listening to like what other people thought that I should be, or wanted me to be, or made suggestions of who I should be. It took a long time for me to figure that out for myself. So I just think that some more time investing in like our relationship with like God and who like He wants us to be is so much more important than like some of those other relationships that we feel like are really important and ditch. Honestly, I don't have really close relationships with a lot of people that I had close relationships with when I was in high school.
Sure, yeah.
I don't.
And that's that's normal.
Yeah,
that's pretty much
a majority of my close. Like I think that there's one friend who like I was like one of the groomsmen in his like wedding. Other than that, like a lot of the relationships that I had in high school that were close relationships in high school have kind of like, I wouldn't say fell by the wayside, but they're just not as close as not nearly as close as they were in high school. I've developed so much more closer ones. So if that's the case, then instead of investing so much energy into those relationships, I'm not saying like to drop them altogether, but I'm just saying that it would be way more advantageous to focus on yourself, understanding who you are, becoming the person who God wants you to be, than like investing a whole bunch of time and energy into relationships that statistically, again, like Pastor Michael said, it just the numbers show that those relationships typically don't last for a long period of time.
And not that that's a bad thing, that's normal. And also it's a thing that like that not saying like we'll just don't have any friends. It's just saying what's going to be the lasting relationship. What's the one that's really going to last a huge chunk of time? Because that's the thing. So I can look at my past and like there's people I'm still friends with, where it's not as close today for different reasons. Location or proximity, or we work together, or now we don't work together. But like if they still come up once in a while, we still make contact, we still connect with each other. They're still there. It's still a valuable relationship. But again, I had a teacher one time that kind of said it's like train tracks. Like sometimes the tracks come close together and they separate out, and sometimes they cross paths, sometimes they go. If you view your relationships like that, they're not always going to be along the same trajectory. Right. They're going to go different ways and different stuff, and that's normal, what happens in life. So if we invest all our time in that, in the thing that is really going to be momentary, even if it's 10, 20, 30 years, still in the scheme of our relationship with God, it's eternal. Maybe invest more there.
Yeah. just thought.
That's good, yeah. Well, these are great questions, good stuff. I think we're about at that point of ending, but first, we got this. What better way to end than Sour Patch Go-Gurts?
Yeah.
Now
I've got Redberry is my flavor.
Blue raspberry. So at least mine's like an actual fruit raspberry. It's just a red berry.
It's just
red. So you should do anything possible there. So this morning, Will texted me and said, just so you can mentally prepare, don't forget, you're eating this today. And I was not mentally prepared. And I had completely forgotten that I said that this was going to happen. And the good thing is that these have been sitting out for about an hour, so they're going to be nice and room temperature.
Nice and room temperature.
And sour patchy. Wow, even that little bit is so sour. All right, so here we go. For you guys, we're going to try. Have you tried this kind yet?
I don't know. Probably, maybe.
I've never had sour yogurt in my life, so here we go.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's
tart.
Tart's a good word. So imagine basically Imagine yogurt that you drop some Sour Patches into and then leave overnight. I think that's about how this tastes. Kind of like you would imagine. Kind of get you like Sour Patch do. It tastes like yogurt, kind of.
When you swallow like the, because yogurt's kind of like thick sometimes when you swallow it in the back of your throat.
Right here, yeah.
And then when that sour part of it hits, it just goes down a little different.
Yeah.
I've got a joke on here. It says, "What do you get when you cross a vampire bat and an abominable snowman?"
I got nothing. Vampire bat, abominable snowman. Draculetti. Yeti.
Ooh, that's good. Anybody got a? I can't tell. I can't see that.
Hope says gross, and Nicole says so gross. Correct. But again, in Will's words, not bad. Not that bad.
The answer was frostbite, by the way. It wasn't
Frostbite,
gross.
that's a good one.
Frostbite.
What has 4 legs but only 1 foot? 4 legs but only 1 foot. This is a good one, actually.
4 legs but only 1 foot.
Any ideas on that one? 4 legs, 1 foot. This is a good riddle. The answer for Hope got it. A bed. A bed.
Oh,
Unless the table
foot.
could work also. Yeah, the foot of the
The
bed.
foot of the bed.
4 legs. Hey, are there any children over there?
I was thinking share.
The sour yogurt. This should be funny. Because they're gonna. This is one of the fun things about being a parent. You get to. Hey, buddy, come here. You want to try some yogurt? Yeah, come here. I'm wearing a Spider-Man shirt. That's a boy.
Yeah, that's
All
an
right.
awesome shirt, man.
So here we go. Micaiah is now gonna try. You try a little bit of the yogurt. What do you think? That was not the reaction I expected. Nothing? Is that good? Well, apparently kids can handle it better than we adults can, because man, I still feel it right back here, right here and right here.
Hey, William. Emily said she wanted to say hi. Come here real quick.
Ken says hi. Say hi.
Hi.
Can you say hi to everyone? Come here. They can't see you.
Right
you
there.
go.
There you go.
Say hi.
Hi.
You want to try some sour yogurt? Hey, Michaela, want to try some sour yogurt?
You want to try some of Dad's yogurt?
Okay, look. Here we go. Try some of this. It's no. Careful. Here we go. Try a little bit of that.
What do you
What do
think?
you think of that?
Good.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Michaela is less sure about it. Not so good, huh?
Yeah, Michaela's.
She was not having
She was
it.
very disappointed.
She's like, what kind of yogurt is that? Normally when I have a yogurt, does not taste like that. Well, there we go. That's how we do here on Morning Sip. Say hi to everyone.
Hi.
Say see you later.
See you later.
You have a good day.
Bye.
Oh, he said he had a good day. It's kind of early still, but all right, everyone. Good hanging out with you as always. We'll see you guys next time, and get some yogurt.
Go get some yogurt.
Go get some Sour Patch yogurt.